Interview is with the Veatches from Northampton, Mass. And we'll start with you, Lynne, and then the gentleman with you. Just talk a little bit about what your background, family background, schools, where you grew up, siblings, what your parents did, that sort of a biographical sketch through high school.
Oh, okay. I grew up on Long Island. I'm a native New Yorker. And my mother was a teacher. My father was a CPA. And I was an English major.
Do you have siblings?
Oh, yeah. Two sisters.
Two sisters. And what about you?
My father was a Pan Am pilot, so I grew up sort of all over the world.
Oh, wow. That must have been exciting.
Ended up a Long Islander after starting in high school. And
we met in high school.
You met
in high school.
You met in high
yes.
school.
And three sisters sort of scattered all over the country at this point.
How long have you guys been married?
41 or 2 years. We sort of forget.
How did you forget?
1969, because it was a good year for Burgundy, so.
So they well remembered. When did you first get the feeling that you might want to be a bookseller? What are your book-selling roots? So
We have completely different
Different roots.
concepts as to what happened and why it happened.
Well, you tell your concept.
Evolution. I mean, we started as, or I think both of us did, as first edition collectors, mostly interested in authors that we liked, and perhaps got tired of them or had opportunities to buy things as we were studying values and whatnot, and started selling a few things, mostly through the AB Bookman's Weekly, occasionally List and things like that. Went to a few fairs, got a few catalogs through a job that Lynne was involved in, and started seeing some private press material that we really didn't understand what it was or why it was getting the kinds of prices it was.
The Kelmscott Chaucer, we saw it in the New York Public Library, and it blew our minds away. Bob decided he wanted to print one, and he went out and bought a printing press. I decided I wanted to own one, not one he printed.
But not one he printed?
No. And it just, we were hooked.
You got hooked on it. Did you start together, or did Bob start first and you came along on the trip, or was this a joint venture between the two of you from the outset?
I think it was, really, every step of the way.
Before we were married, and I was a graduate student, I had a job, a fellowship, to spend as much money as quickly as possible, well, for the university, the late 60s, when they had all that money.
Yeah. I fondly remember those days.
At Stony Brook, they wanted to offer a doctorate in English, and the library wasn't good enough because it was a science school. So they gave me all this money and all this staff and said, bye. And Mags found out, and Quaritch found out, and we were Blackwell. We were getting proof catalogs, and I would take them home at night because it was Bob and I would look at them and say, my Lord, look what these books cost. What are they? Because we had no idea. And we just educated ourselves. And then we started reading biographies, autobiographies, about this wonderful life of travel to England every summer, selling. Yes, nothing about the packing and the work and the books that didn't sell.
Yeah.
Right. And
well, Lynne, of course, read the Rosenbach, and immediately decided that was the life
and
for
David
her.
Randall, and I said, I want to live like this. We're still working on it.
I like Charlie Everett.
Yes. Adventures of a Treasure Hunter, things just falling out of attics.
Yeah. Well, of course, it didn't happen that way.
No.
But it made for good reading, didn't it?
Yeah, this is the life.
When did you put out your first catalog? Can you remember the date of it?
Catalog 1.
No, I can't remember. We started with mimeographed lists and got bigger and bigger.
When approximately was that?
1975.
Okay, so that was your first printed attempt at selling books.
Oh, yeah.
I would say probably mid-'80s.
For the first real catalog.
Did you work out of your house in the early days of your book-selling career?
Yeah. Because, we had other jobs as well.
Oh, so you were moonlighters.
Full-time, part-time work it was.
Do you guys have any kids?
Mm-hmm. One.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Does he have any interest in the trade?
I don't. He's an accumulator, a reader.
Well, it's got in his blood then.
Yeah.
But he likes first editions of the authors he likes.
Yes, I don't know that he
Does he have
is going to go this way.
No, he won't. But he's been taking printing classes and paper making, and which are our subject areas. And our little granddaughter is also taking printing and paper making.
That's cute.
So
This is your inception was in Long Island. This
Yeah.
is when
Yeah.
you started. Now, talk to us a little bit about what happened from then to get you to Northampton.
We worked.
we retired from our day jobs.
Yeah, in the mid '90s, and we were up to probably catalog
In the 50s.
50 at that point.
Yeah, I would imagine it's 20
Yeah,
years since.
Lynn worked
It was a full-time
significantly
part-time job.
harder than I did in building the business. I mean, the business is what it is, or was certainly at the time, because of her efforts. I mean, she worked evenings and weekends and whatnot, and
You have
held
to.
a full-time job during the day. And
But then we retired,
you know,
and we picked Northampton because it's such a book arts community.
When did you move to Northampton?
96.
96.
96. So you've been there a while.
Mhm.
Did you open a shop right away? Or?
We still don't. We have a duplex. The books live at one side, and we live on the other side.
We have
And-
hours by appointment.
And you find that to be more suitable than...
It's
Yeah.
easier. You can get up and work in your pajamas at 5 a.m. and
That's true.
um,
That's true. It's the opposite point of view to John Schulman, who was just in before you, who loves to have a shop.
because it would be nice to have walk-in customers. We missed that.
Also, books walking in the door too.
Exactly.
Do you get much in the way of people offering you material? Like, do you keep a low profile or do you keep a high profile in Northampton?
In Northampton, it's fairly low, but we get a lot of offers because of the internet, our website. And our name seems to be pretty well known after all these years.
And we've been fortunate in buying a number of collections along the way from our customers. So,
Okay. You mentioned the word internet, which of course is a double-edged sword for a lot of us.
Very.
When did you start your internet presence, and did you have an easy time of getting involved, or was it a difficult situation for you?
We started when the ABAA started their website. That was the first place we listed books.
Is it the only place?
Not now.
No. What other sites do you list on?
ABE, Find a Book, Via Libre.
and of course, it almost
That's
doesn't
about
make
it.
any difference now with the mega search sites and whatnot.
It
They're
doesn't.
going to
And the
pick up
Google
wherever you
search.
list them. So.
Yeah, Google, like you say, Google search too. They're going to find you. And so you decided on your specialty back in Long Island. Have you deviated from your mission, so to speak? You just deal in the things that you dealt in then, or have you added things to your repertoire?
Yeah, it's changed. One of the areas that we were very interested in early on was paper making. And there was a paper maker in England named John Mason, and one over here, Henry Morris, and that was just
That was it.
a fascinating connection with the two of them, and we bought and exchanged correspondence over the years. And we do almost nothing in paper making anymore.
Really?
Yeah. And books about books are just
Right, so
course.
we don't do those at all.
And bibliographies and reference
yeah.
books.
we can't give them away.
I remember as a young bookseller, they used to tell me, get a great reference library because someday when you retire,
Your retirement,
it's going to be your
absolutely,
retirement fund. Well, they lied.
They
Well,
didn't know.
the internet did that, of course.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course, it ruined all our hopes and dreams.
Yeah, that's a
So
shame.
we definitely are veering toward the physical object. You know, beautiful bindings,
Yeah.
artists' books.
On the internet, when you have your stuff up, do you picture your material?
As
Yeah.
much as possible. We're not good photographers, and it's tedious.
Really?
But if things can be scanned quickly, then
Yeah,
they go right up.
They certainly can. What are some of your recollections of your early days in the trade? Who are some of the people that perhaps were like mentors or people who helped you or you looked up to?
The Coens.
Well, yeah, Herman Cohen, Chiswick
of
Book Shop,
course.
certainly is.
Yeah, for yours to have.
Yeah, we knew him
Yeah.
from as customers. He knew we'd started business along the way.
He sponsored us, actually.
He
Remember?
was your sponsor?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And at one point, someone had offered him a number of Dart Hunter folios on paper making, and for whatever reason, he decided he didn't want them, and he called me. Said, I've got somebody here in the city who's selling these. You should try to get them. He set up an appointment. I went in there, and
Yeah, they were very helpful,
yeah,
very nice people.
really nice. And Dawson's Bookshop and Kit Curry in particular.
Oh, Kit.
Had
Kit's
Dawson's,
wonderful.
I wouldn't. I mean, we had developed a relationship with her over the years, and I would call Dawson's and ask for Kit. I mean, I wouldn't talk to anyone at Dawson's other than Kit.
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Well, they
And
were
so
the
those-
two major
those two.
influences.
And of course they-
Those were your two
Yeah.
major.
And of course, they were dealing in the kind of material we
Yeah.
were interested in, as both collectors and booksellers.
So, do you travel much in the course of your book selling life? Do you go out scouting, or do you scout the internet, or what are some of your acquisition scenarios?
We used to scout years ago, New England.
When there were
all the
bookshops.
book
Yeah,
barns
the
right.
bookshops
And
were open, yeah.
antique shops that
Yeah.
had a book section and whatnot.
Yeah.
Um,
Even my mom would come back from antique shops with these huge old type specimens for
Oh, yeah.
$10.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
But
don't exist
we don't
anymore.
do that now.
No,
we go to book
and-
fairs. They're good sources.
Yeah. What percentage of your business would you say is done through catalog, through the internet, through book fairs?
say catalogs are probably 60 to 75%, and book fairs and the
Yeah.
internet split the difference.
What's the difference? That's interesting. Because some people, most of their business comes from the internet, as opposed to anything
Well,
else.
we are very loyal to the customers that we've had over the years, and the business space we've built with them. And when we get new material, interesting material, important material,
We don't.
it
put
doesn't go on the
online.
internet.
Right.
We save it for catalogs. They in essence have first refusal, and if things in catalog haven't sold in 6 months or something like that, or 3 months, then we would list them on the internet.
Okay. What aspects of the book business have changed since the internet for you guys?
Well, our stock is just. I mean, we don't even bother with anything under $50 anymore.
Okay.
And we've got
That's your low.
yeah,
low
and
point.
we've got entire shelves that Lynne has just taken to the local auction company or
And the
given to
recycle
Goodwill
center
or
has a
recycle
book
center.
shed where
It's
you can
just-
leave books for people to
Right,
take.
yeah.
And
a lot of
and
things
a lot
done
of them
there.
very basic books that would have been easy to sell at one point. It's like the retirement reference library. I mean, that kind of material. We built up a good stock of over the years and basically looked up over a few year period, and there was no demand for it at all.
And I think we're also worried about where collections are going to come from in the future, because a lot of the younger people who are inheriting things seem to be putting them on ABE rather than looking for bookseller to sell them to.
Do you find that the new collector, the so-called new collector, is more a visually oriented person as opposed to a textually oriented person?
Yeah.
And is that when you talk about having a beautiful binding?
Mm-hmm.
I would think that's what you're.
Yeah.
you
Right,
mean.
or an artist book, you don't care who the author is.
Yeah. No.
Or probably don't even care what the contents are, or a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I see some of the books that Priscilla has with those incredible bindings.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
They're just,
But we still love beautiful typography. So I think any text that's appealing, a classic or something like that, in a beautiful format, beautiful letterpress, we've continued to carry that.
Did you have a problem when computers came in to be prevalent in our association and in our business? Did you guys have any kind of a problem in getting involved with that? Was it an easy transition for you, or did you have your issues?
No, well, Lynne taught computers, or was a manager of computer development at the school she was in, and I've been in the aerospace business for a number of years.
So you guys are computer people who sell books.
Yeah, and then of course our son
he
was
is.
very internet literate.
Oh, okay.
When we first started getting involved in the internet, so he helped us
He did.
through
actually.
that.
He taught me how to use computers.
Well, I did. Our basic inventory control system, invoicing system, and whatnot he is using FileMaker templates, and Lynne set all that up, to my absolute astonishment.
And mine,
What program do you use for your?
FileMaker.
FileMaker for
Just
just about
FileMaker.
everything.
Just FileMaker, yeah.
Yeah, we use Bookhound.
Is that based on FileMaker?
Foxborough. But it's a
Yeah.
FileMaker program.
Yeah, we would have bought that if we hadn't already started making our own.
But it's, my secretary Elaine spent 8 months researching it, just tirelessly, and that was the one she wanted.
Yeah,
So
it's good.
it's a great program. Here's a good question for you. If you were entering the book trade today, would you? Could you?
Meh.
Good question.
That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Look at the issues
I
that we
think
have. today.
yes.
Yeah, but there are so many different issues today than there were in 1975.
Yeah.
Where would you get your material?
Right. Then you needed capital, and now you need material.
Even
You don't really need that much capital if you're an online bookseller.
Right. You need to be able to pay for your online, service,
But that's minimal.
it's minimal.
I don't know where you get your material, or how you'd even learn other than Rare Book School and the ABA school in Colorado.
I think a lot of people
you
learn
didn't
from
have
others.
any formal education, and I think it's something
No,
that
but
you
there were more bookshops.
picked up over time. But,
Big bookshops that hire lots of people. No, maybe
Well,
not.
a lot of people nowadays are learning the book trade by watching what other people do on the internet, checking the sites.
Some very bad examples.
Yeah, and they have a book that's in terrible condition, and they give the same description and same price as something that's in nice condition. 'Cause
Not
they don't know
only
anything.
that, they cut and paste
Absolutely, yeah.
ours and other people's descriptions.
Well,
So,
I don't think there's any way you can stop that, but it's flattering in a sense. Think about it that way.
I've tried humiliating people when I've caught them doing it.
Has that worked?
Yes, one apologized profusely, and in fact, somebody who's, I think, applying for membership in the ABA. But another young lady said, "It's research. You're allowed to take whatever you want that's out there." I said, "Sure, but give credit."
Yeah.
She'd never heard of that concept.
and it's frustrating when one of our colleagues does it too.
Ooh,
and
we
that
won't go
happens.
there.
Yeah.
Well, no, it happens. I mean, we know it.
I'm sure it happens to all of us. I see my descriptions in other people's catalogs.
And you work so hard on them.
But I don't really, it doesn't really bother me, to
Oh.
tell you the truth. I just sort of move on. There's not much you can do.
Oh, no.
What are some of the challenges that you see for the antiquarian book trade as we move forward in the next 5 or 10 years?
Finding new customers to replace the aging
Yeah.
ones.
And finding colleagues to replace the
The aging
ones.
Well, I was going to
And
say
finding
that,
more
yeah.
books.
Yeah, we are, as a group, a bit advanced in age, and I would venture to say there are very few booksellers under the age of 45 in our association, if
Yeah.
you think about it. Most of us are, teetering on the edge.
But the nice thing is, none of us retire. I mean,
No. Oh,
so we have an extra life at the end of a normal retirement age to continue the business. It's just you look around on the floor, and I see very few people in there in their 50s, probably.
My secretary Elaine said to me, "Gee, this is an old-looking group." I said, "Well, it's because we are an old-looking group."
Yeah.
It's really something. When you think about the trade today, who are some of the booksellers who you think are up and coming? Who are some of the booksellers who you consider to be top of the line?
God. It's hard to just pick a couple.
Well, just whatever
Yeah.
comes to mind.
Well, I think all of the younger ones that have become ABA members are
Are
really
good, yeah.
sharp
Shoppies.
Yeah.
and interesting, and they've got different stock, well thought out. I mean,
Different areas
Yes.
that we're
Yeah.
used to.
so we're very hopeful about them.
But we still have an aging association.
Yeah.
How do we solve that problem? Get more people interested in books somehow. I don't know quite how we would do that.
Have you interviewed many of the younger people?
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the older and more established
Before we
booksellers.
go.
Yeah, well, I interviewed Irving Zucker
Ah.
3 months before
Oh,
he died.
good.
And last year I got Bernie Gordon from the Book and Tackle Shop 2 weeks before he died.
It's the death knell to be invited
Well,
to do
Well,
these
not quite,
interviews.
I only ask because there might be some additional perspective and questions that would occur to you to ask the older people with some
Well,
response from the younger
What
people
I'm-
in terms of
What I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start interviewing one young bookseller every now and then 5 years from now, re-interview them.
Oh.
And to get a perspective.
That's
as
a
to-
great idea.
As to how they,
yeah, that's
how they
yeah,
feel.
nice, yeah.
Well, thanks very much for the
Thank you.
interview.
Thank
I
you.
told you it would be painless.
It was. It was fun.
Okay, great.